What's the crack, everyone? It's Nathan here, aka the Rambling Kern, and head instructor of Kern School of Combat. So, this is going to be a fairly quick video, but this is one that's been requested quite a bit. Just a quick reminder, if anyone would like to sponsor my work, you'll find my Patreon in the description, and if anyone's interested in classes in Irish stick fighting or Irish martial arts, again, you'll find links in the description to my classes that I run in Dublin every week. So, the question has been asked, how do I select a shillelagh? Now, I think a lot of people expect, because it's a stick, a shillelagh will be a very inexpensive bit of kit. It's not. It's one of the main reasons why we don't use them. Obviously, there's safety issues, and I have a separate video to that, so if you're interested as to why we use the sticks that we use for what we use, you'll find that in the description as well. However, if you're getting your first shillelagh, or you'd like one to walk with or to hike with, both of those will have very different needs. So I'm going to address hiking first because if you are familiar with my channel, you know I hike quite a bit, and I will then go into fighting sticks and what I look for in those. So with a hiking stick, there's a few different things you'll want. One, I like to have a fairly rounded like forward tilted knob on these. Just gives me something to grip and actually like drive off of, especially if I'm hiking through difficult terrain. I can actually like push down into the ground and kind of test the ground if I need to. Or more importantly, in classic Irish fashion, I can point at things in the distance like this. You'd be surprised how important that is in Ireland. And obviously the other difference, generally you will want a rubber ferrule rather than say a brass or a copper one. I know some people like those. Mainly the rubber, just for protection more than anything else. Now, onto the size and weight. The easiest way to figure size for a good walking stick is about half your height. There's a multitude of reasons for that. Generally, that's the easiest one. So I'm about 6.5 foot. So 3.25 foot would be generally the ideal. I don't know what that is in centimeters. Ireland, we work in and out of metric and imperial quite a bit, and it's quite confusing. However, you want roughly about half your height. Main reason that will give you something around about this area where you can actually lean on and use quite comfortably when you're walking. Now for weight wise, you want to be generally on the slightly higher end, so kind of 600 grams plus, which I believe is about 20 ounces or thereabouts. And the shank of the walking stick will generally be a little bit thicker and a little bit denser, obviously because you're leaning on it quite a bit and throughout the day. So you want something that will hold up. However, I do generally hike with some of these fighting sticks, which have thinner shanks and have held up well. And I'm quite a big guy. I'm like 90 odd kilos, which is kind of 200 and a bit pounds, I believe. And I've never had any issues with them. But obviously for, if you're relying on it or if you're slightly immobile, you want something a little bit more durable, so a little bit heavier, a little bit thicker, is generally the way to go. Now, moving on to fighting sticks. Fighting sticks have different properties that we look for and different things that we want out of them. And obviously there's two systems I work with and two systems I teach. So each of those has slightly similar but slightly different things that I look for within that as well. So I'll start off with the Doy System because it's probably the most well-known unit of measurement, which is simple as this. It is knuckle to knuckle like this, and you're measuring elbow to elbow and adding 3 inches on each side. That will get you a stick like this, which is made by Noble Crow Studios over in the States. Wonderful training stick, absolutely lovely piece of craftsmanship. Like I said, we primarily work as a rattan, but I do understand the usefulness of these, and if you are stuck for cash to buy a shillelagh, or you just live somewhere where they're very difficult to get, these are a great option, be it ordering from a craftsperson like Brian over at Noble Crow, or making your own. So as you'll see here, if I can hold this without dropping it, we're looking at elbow to elbow, and you're about 3 inches each side there. A lot of reasons for this, main ones being that overlap will keep your elbow safe, especially in the Doy style where you're here and sometimes the elbow might flare. Generally this will keep you safe, and that's what we're looking for with that. Now, when we come to the Antrum system, We basically we have quite a spectrum. So on the short end, it is knuckle to knuckle and elbow to elbow, and that's our shortest, going up to about 4 foot at the longest. Now, for someone like myself, I might get away with slightly bigger than 4 foot, but at 4 foot, you're getting quite unwieldy. So I wouldn't really recommend anything above that. Now, there's other details that are important, and this is where the size and weight of the stick come in. And I will argue this with anyone. I have shown on all of my testing videos that a light stick is just as useful as a heavy stick and will do a huge amount of damage. In a fight, you want to be the first person to hit the other person, because if you are, generally you're going to win that fight. Especially with the stick, where a single hit to a hard target, not a soft target. With these, generally you're looking for bones, so be it the knuckles of the hand, or the face, or the skull. And I've shown even with a fairly moderate light strike with one of these, you'll crack a skull with ease. Now, some people will say, oh, well, it's a club, so it should be big and heavy. If it's big and heavy, one, you're not going to be able to swing it very fast, and two, your recovery is going to be quite poor. So for these, I recommend in the 300 to 400 gram range. That's my personal preference, and I think that is the ideal weight. So I believe that is somewhere between 10 and, say, 15 ounces for those who use ounces. Now, people might be thinking, oh, that's very light. Surely that will break. You've seen my testing videos, and there's even ones I haven't shown where I've tested against red bricks and cinder blocks, and I've not had a stick break. The only time I've had a stick break is where I've done a full force hit with the end of the shank here, and the rest of the stick is still usable. It still didn't even break fully. You can see that on my third coconut testing video. Now, there's another reason why weight is also very important, and that is due to how we grip the stick. So there's a very important thing you want to do with an Irish stick and with sticks in general. So anyone who's done Irish stick fighting or has watched my videos on it will know that we fight with our thumb on top, often referred to as a saber grip, because that's how sabers are used, with a thumb on top. And we have similar mechanics to how we swing and use that, like I've showed in my previous video, that kind of forward, whippy and quick snapping motion. Now, this is an important note for sizing your stick. If you're looking for a fighting stick, we want to make sure that we can close our hand fully around the stick like this. See, there's no gap, and you cannot see the stick in between my fingers here. If we have a stick that's far too big, I don't actually have one on hand, but let's say this reproduction kind of training axe, you see this gap here. Now, if I have a regular kind of hammer grip, this is a closed seal, and this won't go anywhere if this gets hit in a strange angle. However, if I have my thumb on top, this gap is here, and if this gets hit back through there, I will lose my stick. That is very important, because the last thing you want to do if you're fighting with a weapon is lose your weapon. So making sure that you can close your hand fully around the stick is key. So like I said, you have those measurements there. Just ensure that whatever stick you do get, you can close your hand around it fully. And obviously that will also play into the weight. If you're going for a much heavier stick, generally your shank will be thicker, and the Merlon will be thicker as well, which is the knob down the end here. And also to think about recovery. So if all your weight's up front and we're swinging, it can take quite a while to recover and pull back. And again, obviously if we're trying to defend ourselves, that's an important thing to consider. So for fighting sticks and for sticks that will be used for self-defense, that is something that's important to consider. Other notes, generally for fighting sticks, you want this sort of a finish. You don't want a lacquered or varnish finish, because it can crack and chip the stick, especially if you're training with it. You generally just want an oiled finish. There's lots of very talented stick makers out there. If you discuss with them what is best suited for that, they'll be able to guide you. I'm not a stick maker myself, but you will find various different stick makers out there who'll be able to advise you on this. Now, like I said, you don't want a varnish or lacquer finish that will chip and will break up the stick over time. The other thing as well is sometimes you will see the head put on separately to the body. Now, this can be done in a structurally sound manner, but my personal preference will be to avoid that. The more potential points of breaking in a stick, the more the likelihood is for it to break. And obviously this is the business end, this is where all the damage is done, so you don't want to have that either. I would say the final notes then would really be ensure that you're looking after your stick. These are wood, so they do need regular maintenance. You do need to oil them and take care of them. They will crack occasionally. If they do, there's various different ways of looking after it. I know some people use the kind of classic wood glue and sawdust mix. Some people use epoxy. Again, if you're getting one from a reputable stick maker, they will advise you on that stuff too. Generally, they'll be sealed and they'll have very small likelihood of any sort of cracks appearing. But obviously, if you live somewhere that's super humid and you go to somewhere that's super dry, or vice versa, you run the chance of it cracking. You know, it's a stick. That's kind of one of the issues that I have with them. So that is kind of the brief rundown of it. Some people might ask about thorns on the stick. If it's a fighting stick, I personally would not advise it. You run a lot of issues trying to move your hand around the stick, and obviously if you're in a emergency situation, you have to grab for it. The last thing you'll do is put your hand on a thorn and end up with a thorn in the hand while you're trying to defend yourself or, stop yourself falling over. So if you have any questions on that, folks, do let me know. We're closing in on 3,000 followers. I really can't thank everyone enough. If there's any video requests anyone has, or anything you would like to see, or anything you'd like to see me discuss, please do let me know. I'm more than happy to do it. Leave a comment down below. And like I said, if you want to sponsor my work or attend a class, you'll find the details for that down in the description too. Once again, I really can't thank you enough for the support. The channel's growing hugely, and just thanks to everyone. So thank you very much. Have a wonderful evening, and slán.